Today's experience was emailed to the channel by Joshua. This warning goes out to my fellow Christians. Joshua does say some things in this experience that may seem blasphemous. He states that after being shot in Vietnam, he dies and meets a very angry, judgmental Jesus. Hi, heaven awaits. My name is Joshua, and I hope that you don't mind me reaching out to you. I have thought about sending you my experience over and over again for at least 6 months now. I know that everyone says the same thing when they write you, but I am genuinely scared of mine. Honestly, I don't even know if you should read mine on your channel. Not because it is graphic or disgusting, but because of the topics that it touches on. I ask that you bear with me as I try to write this. With that said, let's get to it. It was 1968. I was 21 years old and had 3 months left on my third tour in Vietnam. For those that don't know, 1968 was a bad year for us in Vietnam. The North Vietnamese launched a surprise attack on us called the Tet Offensive, and well, let's just say the war went downhill from there. There's a saying about those that play with fire too many times. Well, the third time was a charm for me. As a Marine, I always thought I was bulletproof. That's what they teach us in boot camp, that we are 10 feet tall and bulletproof. That, as Maury would say, was determined to be a lie. During the Siege of Hue, I found out just how bulletproof I wasn't. I was shot 6 times in various places. Upper thigh, stomach, arm, and chest. When a bullet hits you, the pain is indescribable. When 6 hit you, there's almost no chance of survival. I remember the final bullet as it smacked into my chest, knocking me backward. As I fell, I heard a squad mate scream out medic, and I was out. People think that dying is a great feeling. There is nothing great about it, or at least for me anyway. As I lay there bleeding out from the holes that had riddled my body, I felt a tugging sensation, like I was being pulled to my feet. The first thing that I remember saying when I got to my feet was, "Where is my rifle? Where the F is my rifle?" As I began to look around, I could see more of my friends falling in battle. Still thinking that I could help, I tried to no avail to find my rifle. That is when I heard the crack of a weapon firing and saw a bullet go through my body. What the F? I thought to myself. After the bullet passed through me, I looked around and saw my body being carried away by the medics. I screamed at them, telling them to grab my friends. I finally realized that no one could hear me, so it didn't matter how much I screamed, they didn't respond. The further that my body was carried away, the further I felt it pulling me back. Seeing no other choice, I followed the medics with my body. I remember the doc, Corman, saying to the pilot, "Holy bleep, this Marine is effed up. We have to get him back to base ASAP or he's going to die." I felt like saying that I was already dead, but again, they wouldn't listen to me even if I did. As soon as they touched down, I felt my spirit being pulled hard upward. I let go, and as soon as I stopped fighting, my spirit started zooming upward through the clouds. I hate to bring modern-day movies into this, but think Neo from The Matrix or Superman, and how when they took off it was fast enough to cause you to mess yourself. Anyway, I had no idea what I was in store for, but as I got closer to my destination, I saw it. A golden city, one that no one can describe with mere human words. As quickly as it had appeared, it disappeared. It is now that I find myself in a void so dark that I couldn't see an inch in front of my face. To be honest, I am glad that I couldn't because, from the sounds of the chittering and gnashing that I heard, whatever was making those sounds, I didn't want to see them. I wasn't always religious, and even now, after what I was told, I still find it hard to believe. I remember calling out to Jesus, whispering at first because I was scared of whatever was in the darkness. As I gradually got louder and louder, I heard a voice from within the darkness saying that Jesus wasn't going to save me, that in his eyes I was worthless and deserved to be devoured. This wasn't the all-forgiving Jesus that I had been told about growing up, and even though my faith was a little weak, it made no sense that he would just abandon me. I cried out again, "Jesus, please God, save me. Save me." I heard a screeching sound and then nothing. I continued to pray to Jesus to save me. I apologized for everything that I had said or done, every time that I had used the Lord's name in vain. I apologized. As I began to give up all hope, I saw a pinprick of light. Slowly it began to get larger and larger until all of the blackness had faded away. And before me stood Jesus. I couldn't help but notice that something seemed off. Instead of exuding light and love and looking at me like he was happy to see me, all I saw was disgust and disdain. What happened to the loving Jesus that my parents had told me about? I thought. Before I could finish grasping the situation, he spoke to me telepathically. All of you humans believe that you know the real me. Your preachers and pastors have all lied to you. Some of you do not deserve to be saved. I had no idea what I had done, other than maybe used the Lord's name in vain a few times too many. Is that what you think this is about, Joshua? Let me show you why I hate you. Before I could react to being told that Jesus hated me, I saw a screen appear and my life began to flash in front of me. I saw everything bad that I had ever done and the hurt that it caused, including what happened in the future to those people. I was shown stuff that I wished I could forget and know that I will never be forgiven for. Like the time that I purposely smacked my baby sister in the head with a glass bottle. I was shown a close-up of my face and the happiness that was on it. That was before my parents lit my behind up. I was shown how I poisoned my neighbor's dog when I was 13 years old. The hurt that I put my 4-year-old neighbor through over losing her best friend. I was shown how I had physically assaulted my girlfriend just before I was drafted into Vietnam. How the physical pain still lingered 3 years later. The worst part that I was shown was when I had to take out a Vietnamese kid. The Viet Cong used to use children to sneak in and attack us. It was never confirmed whether the kid was the enemy, but by that time, I didn't care. Instead of ending it quickly, I took my time. Seeing how hurt his mother was when they found him was one of the worst feelings ever. After the review ended, I glanced back over to Jesus, who had a look of disgust on his face. I could feel the burning hatred that he had for me, and I deserved every bit of it. I ask you again, human, why do you feel that you deserve to be saved from the lake of fire? He asked. I had no answer. I didn't deserve to be saved. I thought to myself, isn't Jesus supposed to be all-loving? If I repent, isn't he supposed to give me another chance? A flash of anger quickly overtook him. I have seen your soul, just as my father hated us all. There are certain souls that I despise. Yours is one of them. I fell to my knees and begged for forgiveness. I telepathically told him that I could change. That if given a second chance, I would live to serve instead of being served. I would treat others as I wanted to be treated. I have already seen your soul, Joshua. I do not believe that you are capable of changing. However, you are being given another chance. When we next meet, if you have not changed, you will not receive another chance. Begone from my sight, unclean soul. As soon as Jesus said those words, I felt myself falling back down to earth at 1,000,000 miles per second. I crashed into my body and opened my eyes and gasped and screamed. I met Jesus and he hates me. Realizing I was back, I began to look around. I saw that I was surrounded by doctors who had just called my time of death. They forced me down and got me sedated and began to vigorously work on my wounds. I woke up the next day to news that I would be leaving the country and would likely be medically retired. As I recovered from my wounds, I tried to convince myself that it was all a dream. I told anyone that would listen to the freaky dream that I had. When I had recovered enough, I was sent for a psych evaluation. The quacks diagnosed me with severe schizophrenia and paranoid delusions and recommended full discharge when I was fully recovered. If not for one of the nurses telling me that I needed to keep my experience to myself, I likely would have ended up in the nut hut. Eventually, I was discharged from the hospital and from the Marines. I continued to have nightmares regarding my experience, but did become a better person. I started going to church, where I met my now wife of 47 years. I have never assaulted her, just in case you were wondering. We had 4 kids, all of which were raised as believers. I have told all of them about my experience with Jesus. Usually, they say it was a demon pretending to be Jesus, but I can't say for sure. The reason why I needed to send this experience to you is that I stumbled onto your channel back in April, and I was tired of hearing all of the ones about nice Jesus and how he didn't judge. I am sure that these people did experience this, but there's no way that Jesus was nice to all of them, at least not in my experience. I wasn't even that bad of a person, and I was told that I was hated. To all those who don't believe that Jesus judges, you're sadly mistaken. Jesus does judge, and he can be downright angry and mean about it. At least the one I encountered was. Have I done enough over the last 54 years to alleviate some of that anger? I do not know. I am 75 years old now. I do not know how much longer I have on this earth, but until I am called home for final judgment, I will continue to repent for the sins that I committed all those years ago. I will continue to try to live up to his standards. That is all any of us can do.